Well, hello and welcome to my bedroom. And as you can see, I'm hugely fortunate to have the River Severn running through my back garden. I've sat here many an hour watching otters over there catching crayfish. Just down here there's a little pool when the river's not quite so high, full of minnows, and we have a kingfisher that comes and sits there. It's a most beautiful place and very restful most of the time. It's a constant reminder of how privileged we are in this country to have a constant supply of fresh water. Last Sunday in Llanidloes and Carno, we were very lucky to hear Christoph talk to us about the Exodus and how God gave water to the thirsting Israelites in the desert. And that was despite their lack of faith in him. They questioned Moses, is God here or not? As soon as times got tough, they were doubting. Their faith wavered regularly, but God kept on coming through for them. Not necessarily, though, in the way they expected. He does things his own way, God, doesn't he? God works in mysterious ways his wonders to perform. He may not do what we demand of him, but he doesn't abandon us. And it got me thinking to a time about 3 years ago when we had a watery crisis right here, and I asked him to perform a wonder for me. As you can see down here, we've got a flood wall. This is a new wall you can see in front. Behind it is the old wall, which was a little bit lower. And at this particular time, we'd had a week of quite heavy rain. It was a Sunday. As we got further into the day, the rain kept coming and the river kept rising. It's reasonably high at the moment, but not too bad. And it came up to the bottom of the flood wall. And it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I stepped out of the back door down here, and there was water bubbling up through cracks in the concrete that was the backyard. So a little bit panicky, oh dear. The rain had just about stopped at that point, but it does carry on rising for another 2 or 3 hours after it stopped usually. So my husband and my son were here, and we got buckets and we started bailing, throwing the water back over the wall. And after about 15 minutes of that, and we were getting quite tired, I thought this isn't going to work because this is going to carry on for hours yet, possibly. So I went inside, went onto Facebook. I don't use it that much, but I did that day, and I just said, anybody free to help me bail? And then it was amazing. Over the next, 7 hours really, up until midnight, more and more people were appearing. We had, at one point, we had 8 hot tub pumps pumping water over that wall. People throwing with buckets. They came armed with buckets, a lot of them. Somebody even came with some sort of big plastic tub thing. They hadn't got a bucket, they come with something. And then others were moving all our belongings from downstairs, upstairs, or up onto the yard. And so others were making cups of tea, making food, feeding everybody. It was amazing. And I was, regularly praying, God, please, isn't it about time the water stopped? Can you prevent it coming up? Because it was coming higher and higher up this wall. And it got to about midnight, and my prayers still weren't being answered, and the water is still rising. Jesus spoke about the living water that he came to give us, the life-giving water of God's love, his Holy Spirit. And as I got to that point of despair that night, I felt that living water, that Holy Spirit that's so full of love, as God came and answered my prayers in a way I could never have anticipated. I looked around my home and I saw it filled with strangers, some of whom had been working tirelessly for, I think, 6 or 7 hours trying to save my home. And I knew in that instant that the bricks and mortar and fittings and carpets were nothing. They were worthless compared to the love shown to us by those people in our time of need. And my fear left me, and I was filled with joy and peace. Sometimes when God fixes things, he does it in an entirely different way to how you're expecting. And the water carried on rising until it was about a centimetre from the top of the wall, and then it started to drop. And I was left with a damp patio and a whole new perspective on what's really important in life. Thank you.